start properly since everyone's here. We'll be sensitive to everybody's time. My name is Mark Murphy. I'm the president and CEO of Greenlight Networks. I'm joined here today by Bill Mack, who's the president of LeChase. And we've got some exciting news to tell you. There's no doubt that the demand for bandwidth continues to grow year over year. It's the holiday season. Everyone's going out to get their new devices, and more bandwidth will be required to support all the movies that people want to stream, all the games that people want to play, and maybe even get a little work done while they're at home with the kids for the holidays. So with all that growth and what we see day after day is a whole lot of folks going to our website, greenlightnetworks.com, signing up to get our service. And that excites us to no end. And we're trying to build out as quickly as we can, and I'll share some numbers with you in terms of how we've been doing year over year. And we're very proud of that. We've also seen that there's a demand for choice in the marketplace over what the cable company is providing today. We think it's both choice of additional bandwidth to accommodate all these devices, and it's also choice for better pricing. And we think what we've been able to do in the marketplace is drive competition up for both increased bandwidth as well as lower prices in the marketplace. A little less than 17 months ago, our company was fortunate enough to partner with Tom Golisano. Mr. Golisano gave us the funding we needed to really grow, and beyond that, he gave us, I think, a lot of insight into how to grow to meet the demand that we have. So in that time, in just under 17 months, we've gone from 18 employees to now nearly 60 here in Rochester. And not only that, but in terms of our growth, prior to Mr. Golisano coming on board, we were only installing or adding about 5,000 homes per year in terms of those that we can service. This year alone, we're now doing double that, which is up to 10,000 homes in this past year. So Mr. Golisano really wanted to position us for growth and put the tools in place for us to grow faster. We've added a lot more in addition to just people resources, systems resources across the board from both an engineering, a construction, and a customer support side to continue to grow our business and keep up with all the demand we've seen. So at this point, we're now serving about 40,000 homes in the greater Rochester area. Again, 10,000 came in this year alone, so that's nearly 25% of the customers we can now serve occurred over the last year. But what we also know is that despite that people love everything about Greenlight in terms of the speed and in terms of the choice, the one thing they don't love is that we're not at their house now. And we've got a lot of customer demand. We've got several thousand customers that are waiting to get our service, some more patiently than others, and we realize that and we can appreciate that. But what we've come to the conclusion that, you know, as fast as we've grown and as much as we've grown, we can't do it ourselves. So we've sought out a partner. We've looked at a number of opportunities and different partners that we could look at in the marketplace. And today I'm happy to announce that we're partnering with LeChase, who's been a leader in the construction industry, now celebrating their 75th anniversary. Quite an accomplishment, Will and Kyle and Bill and the rest of the gang. So for us, it really became a no-brainer to partner with LeChase. Their expertise in the construction management side, we think, is really best in class, and it's really going to help us become much better at deploying fiber, getting organized internally. So, you know, if you look around this warehouse now, they've got the ability to get materials in place. I'm not sure that that's the delivery truck we're going to count on, Will. But if you get that thing for the job, and good for us. And you saw a number of the resources we had outside. And there's facilities like this all over the state that we hope one day to be able to use to deploy and store fiber and equipment and materials. The project management team that we've got in place with the LeChase folks has been outstanding. They're going to help us manage our contractors out in the field, and they've already done a good job bringing more contractors to bear in Rochester, which just allows us to build more places at the same time. So, you know, for us, it's not just about what we're building today, it's how many places we can be building simultaneously, and the team at LeChase is helping us do that. So we could have done this organically. It just would have taken longer. And through Mr. Golisano's guidance and certainly our partnership here with LeChase, we think we can scale this up much faster, get to more customers more quickly. And as we look at what the year to come brings, and we've got a couple maps up here that I can talk to, and we can show you those in more detail as we go. But in yellow, what you're seeing is the 12 Greenlight districts that we've been able to do over the last few months together and jointly as we begin getting this up and going. What you'll also notice that there's 20 locations on the map that we now have scheduled, and that goes through mid-2020. So what you can see on the map is that the pace is picking up, and it's only going to get faster as we go through there. So we're adding places in Brighton, Fairport, Gates, Greece, Arundecoit, and Pittsford. Those are in orange, and we've got a number of other municipalities that we'll be adding along the way. So right now what we've got scheduled just through mid-2020 is an additional 20,000 homes that we're going to be able to pass, which in just half a year is more than double what we'll have done in 2019. So we're very excited about that, and I think the numbers alone tell you that this partnership makes sense. As we look to the end of 2020, we think we're going to jointly be able to get to a total of 80,000 homes, 80,000 potential customers in the greater Rochester area in New York. In the longer run, 3 years out, those numbers even get more aggressive to the tune of about 230,000 homes that we want to go to in upstate New York. Can you do it?
You can do it, sir.
So, from our perspective, and really to close it out, I think this partnership brings in construction expertise that's difficult for us to grow organically. We think we've got a great partner to do that. We've already seen some outstanding results over the last few months. So we've got a track record together. And more importantly, and I'll close on a story, many years ago when Mr. Golisano was faced with how to grow Paychex, he looked to Wayne LeChase to help build the headquarters of Paychex to house all the employees that he was bringing on and get them under one roof. Thankfully for Tom and Wayne, that job happened on time, on budget, and that's the kind of opportunity we're looking for here to really grow our services here in Rochester and across upstate New York. And we think this partnership's really going to help us go faster. So with that, I'll turn it over to Will Mack, President of LeChase.
Appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at the LeChase warehouse, which has become the Greenlight LeChase warehouse, as you can tell by what's in this. I'm joined today by our operational lead, Adam Green, and our Chief Operating Officer, Kyle Sayers. So thank you, Mark, and thank you and welcome to all our Greenlight partners. We're honored to be working with you. It's amazing when you talk about LeChase and our 75 years. I consider that a milestone, 75 years. We're very proud of that. We have a 1944 delivery truck over here. Yet when one of us goes into Wegmans or a CVS store, everyone, with all of the buildings we've been fortunate to be involved in Rochester, people just want to know, when is Greenlight coming, LeChase? When is Greenlight coming? So all of a sudden, this is the most prevalent thing in our business. So we're proud of that, and proud to be able to deliver what we do. So why is LeChase a part of this, and what's important to us? Technology is a part of the construction industry, and what we do at LeChase is, from an operational standpoint, take that technology and implement to support Greenlight to provide to the number of households that Mark spoke to earlier. From a planning standpoint, a scheduling standpoint, a permitting standpoint, all the logistics that have to occur to get into the neighborhoods that we plan to do is really the footprint and what we do. It's called delivering excellence at LeChase. Ironically, as Mark said, that's exactly what we did for Mr. Golisano and Paychex years ago when he was seeking out a partner. So we're just proud to be standing here. Wayne LeChase, Bill Goodrich, myself, and Kyle Sayers are just proud to be standing here following through on those occurrences from years ago. The second thing that we have that Greenlight and LeChase mirror is our culture. The fact that our customers come first, our employees come first, and operational excellence is what we're looking for as a group. Our geographic footprint, in addition to that, is somewhat similar, right? As we stretch through New York State, LeChase's geographic footprint has become much bigger than just Rochester, as Mark spoke to. So again, we're proud to be associated with Greenlight, and very soon we'll be changing the logo on the truck, probably, Mark, to LeChase Greenlight in order to make the deliveries. So thank you to all our guests for being here today, and I give it back to you, Mark.
We've got time for questions for either Will or I.
In terms of just from a business aspect, Mark, obviously, are you bringing or joining forces as it's not any kind of merger, it's kind of hiring LeChase? How would you describe the partnership?
So it's structurally a joint venture. So there'll be some Greenlight employees as well as LeChase employees both working together. The LeChase folks will be focused on project management, construction management, contractor management, materials management, as you see in the warehouse. And then the Greenlight team will be focused on the outside plant or the field engineering, all the network designs and everything else that go into it. So essentially, we'll design the network and then we'll hand it over to the LeChase team or the joint venture to go build the network.
Do you have a number, approximately how many LeChase employees will be involved in this effort? How many of your company?
Sure. Right off the get-go, Adam, I think we're starting out somewhere around 10, building on that.
I'd say that's where we'll end up and raise as we progress throughout the
Raise as
state.
we progress, so.
There are huge swaths of the city that are white, that have no green or yellow or blue or anything like that. What's the plan to get this into city neighborhoods where we know the demand has to be huge, and partnering with the school district and helping students and all the possibilities that come with that, and yet there appears to be nothing on the map that heads that way?
So again, everything that we do is based on demand. And so as we look across the board, the bulk of our demand has been in the areas that we've highlighted. We continue to work with the city to find ways to more cost effectively reach as many neighborhoods as we can. And I think as we get closer to some agreements there in terms of being able to build in the city more cost effectively and work through the permit process more effectively, I think as we get through those issues, we'll be able to get more green in the city.
Can you explain what the problems are and how you're working with the city?
It really comes down to some technical details on the permitting process, some of the items that are, I would say, newer asks, some things that weren't necessarily in place over the last few years. Some of it goes to the new telecommunications process that they put out, largely targeted to 5G, but some of that stuff impacts us. But that's slowed things down a little bit as well.
So is it still the same model that people still have to have the critical mass before they're going to the neighborhood?
Yes.
What is the critical mass?
It really depends on a number of things. One of which is how much it's going to cost to build. So as an example, is it aerial or underground construction? Underground construction is more cost effective. How many are more costly? How many roads do we have to cross in that neighborhood to get there? How close is it in proximity to existing fiber that we can leverage to get into the neighborhood? Or how far away is it from areas that we've already built to? So cost is a big part that we look at, but we can, as low as 10%, and in some cases, we may need 50% of the neighborhood to sign up for us to go ahead and be able to build that cost effectively.
Will those projects be going on simultaneously, or is there an order that you're sort of thinking right now?
A number of them will be going on simultaneously. Some of that depends on the availability of construction crews and our contractor partners. We've been doing a much better job of bringing in more contractors to get multiple jobs going on at once. That's our goal, is we want to get as many jobs going at the same time as possible across a number of different communities. So more than likely you'll see, we've got folks working today in Greece and in Webster and in Irondequoit. We see that maybe in 6 or 7 areas at once as opposed to 2 or 3. And that could be across the state as well.
Those are subcontractors.
Yes, they're a contract. We work with a number of qualified, generally local contractors who help us get the work done.
Mark, you mentioned in your remarks about expanding upstate. I mean, is your goal all over upstate someday? What do you hope?
I mean, demand is always going to drive where we go. We certainly look across the competitive landscape. We think Rochester is not unique in terms of people wanting choice and people needing more bandwidth, and we think we've got a great product. So we're certainly actively looking around the area to see, with our partners, where we might deploy next. We get demand on our website every single day from folks all over the country, frankly, and even up in Canada and England, believe it or not. But I'm not putting these guys on a boat to England tomorrow. So we're looking, I think, especially as we look at where to go next, I think proximity matters. We want this it needs to go well, and we want to be able to make sure we can control that process pretty closely.
Well, just in front of the mic, so I wanted to ask it. In terms of, obviously, you guys have a lot of experience in construction. In terms of the technology, is there a big learning curve, or has there been to get your people up to snuff to install fiber?
Well, thanks for that. From a learning curve perspective, the biggest one has been acronyms. But other than acronyms, Adam, I believe the technology that is being used, there's similar technologies in some of the buildings that we're constructing, and we're using those subcontractor partners that Mark talked about who live in this industry. So we once we got through the acronyms, up and off we've been going.
What's the percentage of Greenlight homes that are in the city? It just looks like there's just one area that's green on that map. Do you have that figure?
There are actually multiple Greenlight districts. I don't know off the top of my head. We can certainly get that to you. Actually, on a number of home spaces, it's probably a pretty good percentage, only because the density in the areas that we built in the city are pretty high relative to the suburbs. And as well, there's a number of multifamily places that we built in the city, so that would contribute to that as well.
So the density, but as far as, there's lots of ways to play with numbers and to say you have this percent or that number, but it just looks like there are just huge neighborhoods that aren't even touched.
Well, and some of that too, there's a number of commercial areas in the city that we wouldn't necessarily go to, because that's not, and you come out to this part of the city, there's a lot of industrial areas, there's the airport, there's all those places that just wouldn't be core for us to serve. So most of the business districts are already being served by other fiber providers or other communications companies. Our priority right now is to focus more on the residential areas. So, it's tough when you just look at a landmass, you go through the entire county. There's a whole lot of green space, there's parks, there's schools, there's a lot of places that, take up a lot of room that we just wouldn't serve. Okay.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you all for coming, and we look forward to bringing Greenlight to everybody here faster, and hope you have a happy holiday.
Thank you, everyone.